Will Leeds United strengthen their bid to avoid relegation by beating the Blues, or will Chelsea do the double over the Peacocks? Watch until the end of this preview to hear all of my thoughts on tomorrow's match. Hello people, welcome to my channel, welcome to another video. This is my preview for the match that will be taking place tomorrow evening at Elland Road in the Premier League between Leeds United and Chelsea, with kickoff at 7:30 p.m. UK time. So what I'm going to do for you guys in terms of this preview is that firstly, I'm going to run you guys through the team news that concerns the Chelsea first team. I'll then be giving you guys my lineup based on the team news that I'll be giving you guys very shortly. And lastly, I'll be giving you guys my score prediction. So without further ado, let's get straight into this preview. So we shall begin by taking a look at the Chelsea team news. And in this preview, I only have one piece of information for you guys. And it concerns N'Golo Kante and Jorginho. I didn't actually manage to hear anything about Callum Hudson-Odoi, but yeah, this story explains that both N'Golo Kante and Jorginho could be available, but they will be facing a late fitness test. So it could be good news or it could be bad news in regards to those two, but hopefully it's good news because if neither of them are able to feature, then we'll have to play two number eights again. And I think in the second half of our game against Wolverhampton Wanderers, we saw the negative effects of that. So fingers crossed, at least one of them is available. But yes, that's it for the Chelsea team news. We shall now move on to my lineup based on the team news that I've just given you. Let's do it. Now I am going to run you guys through my lineup based on the team news that I've just given you. And yes, as always, I'm going to begin by talking about my formation of choice, and I've chosen to go with a 3-4-1-2, although I would not be surprised if Thomas Tuchel chose to change it, because I have to be honest, we have been losing concentration in games, and that has resulted in us making many errors that have led to us conceding goals that we should not be conceding, or goals that are easily preventable. But yes, I've chosen to go with this formation because I did say that I wouldn't be surprised if Thomas Tuchel went with something else, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if he stuck with it. It's a slightly strange situation that we're in right now because there are so many things that we can work on, and Thomas Tuchel did say this in his press conference. But anyways, that's why I've chosen to go for 3-4-1-2. In terms of the personnel I've chosen, I've gone with Edouard Mendy in goal. Yes, some may argue that he should have done better with Francisco Trincão's goal on Saturday, and I can see why they I can see why anyone who thinks that he could have done better thinks that, but at the same time, what went on in front of him was just ridiculous. How no one or next to no one went to press Francisco Trincão when he was in possession of the ball. But yes, I've gone with Edouard Mendy, and for me, his form hasn't been too great, but I just don't see Kepa starting. But yeah, that's why I've gone with Edouard Mendy in goal. In terms of my back three, I've gone with Trevor Chalobah in the right centre back position. For me, he needs to play. Yes, Cesar Azpilicueta didn't have the worst of games against Wolves, but I just think that Trevor Chalobah needs to play because he's looked good in recent games, and I think that he deserves to play for that reason. If Cesar Azpilicueta does start, I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't mind too much, or at all rather. Okay, let me rephrase that. That sounded bad. I wouldn't mind at all because we all know he can do a job. But yes, I've gone with Trevor Chalobah in this position. In terms of who I've gone with in the centre of my back three, I've gone with Thiago Silva. But having said that, I was contemplating going with Andreas Christensen because of the fact that we do have to play Liverpool at Wembley this weekend. And Thiago Silva has been our best defender this season, in my opinion, and I think he does deserve a rest. He was meant to be rested against Arsenal, but he had to come on because in that game we were very poor defensively, and in some of our recent games we've been pretty poor defensively as well. Um, and from what I've seen, he hasn't made too many mistakes defensively recently as well, um, which is what you expect of him. But for me, he has to be in. Um, I lost my train of thought, but I've gone with him because of the very fact that he's been our best defender this season. He's easily been the most consistent, and I think we'll need his leadership qualities in the back three. But if Andres Christensen was to start, I'd completely understand. But I've gone with Thiago Silva for the reasons I've given already. But yes, to complete my back three, I've gone with Antonio Rudiger in the left centre back position. For me, he could have done better for the first goal. He should have got tighter to or gotten tighter to Francisco Trincao. That name does not roll off my tongue very easily, but we all know that he is able to do a job. He's been brilliant for us. It's a shame that he's leaving the club, but for me, he needs to start in this back three because we have no one else who can play in this position. Yes, some may argue that Malang Sarr should play, but for me, he doesn't deserve to play right now, and it's as simple as that. So that's why I've gone with Antonio Rudiger in the left centre back position. Um, in terms of my midfield four, I have to be honest. Some of these, some of these positions, I've not really filled because of the fact that we could see N'Golo Kante and Jorginho, or at least one of them, be in the squad or in the starting lineup tomorrow. So I'll run you guys through who I've gone with in the four, just in front of the three and behind the one. Um, don't worry, that phrase wasn't going anywhere. But yes, in the right wing back position, I've gone with Reece James. Yes, he wasn't too great against Wolves on Saturday, but we don't really have anyone else who can excel in this role. Yes, Cesar Azpilicueta can play there, but I don't see him going there at the start of the game. Although he has, um, let me start that again. I've gone with Reece James, but having said that, I wouldn't be surprised if Cesar Azpilicueta was to play there because he has played there a number of times this season, and we have seen Reece James in the right centre back position. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was to happen in tomorrow's game. But I've gone with Reece James for this one. In terms of the central midfield positions, these are the parts that I've left um, unoccupied or unfilled that I that Jorginho and N'Golo Kante, or at least one of them, could be back in contention for a place in the squad or in the starting 11. So I've left the two central midfield positions um, blank, if you like. Well, not blank, but I've actually, let me rephrase that. In terms of the central midfielders, I've gone with either Kovacic or Jorginho in one midfield position, or Loftus-Cheek and N'Golo Kante in another. So yeah, that's what I've gone with in terms of the central midfielders. Hopefully, we don't have to play Mateo Kovacic and Ruben Loftus-Cheek in the two number 8 positions again, because like I said in my preview for the game against Wolves, playing two number 8s in the middle of the park in a back three system is not a great idea, and we saw why in the second half. I mean, just look at the first goal we conceded. Um, Kovacic lost the ball in in the middle of the park, and there was a massive hole in behind him and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. And since they were both advanced, that was that made it easier for Francisco Trincao to get the ball, drive with it, and run out our defence and get a shot off that unfortunately went into the back of the net and kick-started Wolverhampton Wanderers' comeback in that game. So hopefully if we do have to resort to playing two number eights, they have um, hopefully if we do have to resort to playing two number eights, that doesn't happen. But yes, let me know who you'd start in the two midfield positions down below. And in terms of who I've gone with in the left wing back position, you'd actually be surprised to hear me say that I've gone with Kennedy. Yes, you've heard that correctly. I've gone with him because I do think that Marcos Alonso has played a lot of games recently, and in the game against Wolves, he wasn't really effective. Neither wing back in that game was effective, so that's why I've gone with Kennedy. Yes, Sal Niguez has played there for us this season, but I think we should put someone who can play on the left hand side in this position. And yes, Kennedy can play as a wing back, although it's not his best position, definitely not. I just think that we we need to do whatever it takes now because um, it seems to me that Thomas Tuchel has changed the system a number of times and put in certain players or shifted certain players in and out of the squad, and the results have been mixed. And more often than not, the results have gone out of our favour. So this one's just purely down to experimentation and pure hope. But yes, that's who I've gone with in the left wing back position, and that completes the four, if you can even say it's complete. Um, but yeah, that completes the four just in front of the three and behind the one. And I've done the same thing in terms of the number 10 position because for me, Pulisic had a decent game against Wolves. Mason Mount has looked, he has looked a bit off in some of our recent games, although he did have a good run of form. And Hakim Ziyech has yet to be tested in this position, so that's why I've not really chosen anyone. But I wouldn't be surprised if Mason Mount started this game because Leeds do like to play with a lot of. Uh, Let me rephrase that. Leeds United do um, like to play with a lot of energy. They are very physical, and Mason Mount is someone who can run for days. He is an engine, and he is someone who can press really, really well, and he is pretty press resistant. So I think that I wouldn't, if he was to start in the number 10 position, I'd understand. Um, but again, it's up to you guys. Who do you think should start in the number 10 position? Let me know down below, and I will do my very best to respond. But um, in terms of the front two, I've gone with Romelu Lukaku and Timo Werner. For me, Romelu Lukaku deserves to start. He was our best player, in my opinion, against Wolves, not just because of the goals, but because I thought his general play was good, especially in the second half. In the first half, he was a bit quiet. He didn't get too many chances at all. Um, but I thought um, he did make some good runs, and in the second half, that second goal especially, brilliant goal. Um, and for someone who was clearly lacking confidence, that was a finish of a confident striker. So hopefully, the very fact that um, he scored two goals in our last game gives him some confidence, and hopefully, if he starts, he shows that the two goals that he scored against Wolves has given him confidence by getting some more goals. But yes, Timo Werner for me had a bit of a funny game because he did get into good positions, but sometimes he made the wrong decisions. He did have a goal ruled out. I still need to look at that, by the way. But yes, for me, Kai Havertz does need a rest. He did come on. He missed a glorious chance, but having said that, if Kai Havertz was to start, I completely understand why, because he has started more than Romelu Lukaku has in this system. But for me, I think that Romelu Lukaku needs to start. But yes, that's the lineup that I've gone with. Again, a lot of it is provisional. Um, do feel free to drop your thoughts down below. But anyways, here's a graphic showing you guys the formation that I've chosen and the personnel that I've chosen and haven't chosen for my lineup. Let's move on. Now, normally in this particular part of my previews, I'd just go straight into giving you guys my score prediction, but in this one, I'm just going to give you guys my thoughts on how I think we need to approach tomorrow's game. And that is as follows. We need to go to Elland Road tomorrow evening and kill the game off as soon as possible, and do so that we can rest players for Saturday's FA Cup final against Liverpool. This will not be an easy game. Leeds United are fighting against relegation, and on top of that, Leeds United do not like us, and we do not like them, so that's even more of a reason to turn up and get the job done in this game. But yes, hopefully we play well, hopefully we are clinical, because it's about time we actually picked up 3 points again. Because yes, I know the last time was against West Ham, and that wasn't too long ago, but in terms of um, the way we've been playing in some of our recent games, most notably the game on Saturday, where I thought we should have won that, and the game against Manchester United at the end of April, where we really should have won that. We really need to play well and be clinical. Um, but in terms of my score prediction, I've gone over 2-1 Chelsea win. I think this will be a tight game. Leeds United are no pushovers. They have looked good under Jesse Marsch so far, and I do believe we can win, hence the score prediction, but it's really up to the players, and I'm just going to leave it as that. Yes, that's why I've gone over 2-1 Chelsea win. Please do drop your score predictions down below, and I will do my very best to respond. That is it for this preview. Come on, you Blues. Come on, Thomas Tuchel, and peace.